This episode of That's What G Said podcast is brought to you by full-service realtor Cindy Carava. Visit cindycarava.com for all of your real estate needs. On this episode, That's What G Said, I'm going to talk some college football. We'll recap last week. We have the college football plays for this week. NFL recaps every single NFL game from week 3. If you're a fan, if you're a gambler, if you're interested in fantasy football, DFS, you want to listen in and hear what happened in each of the game recaps. We'll preview Thursday night football with the Eagles at the Packers. Santa Anita opening day on Friday. They actually have a couple graded stakes races on the card on Friday. They'll give you those 2-year-old graded stakes races and a nice little turf sprint. So we're going to get through the Santa Anita Friday card, and we'll also go through every horse in each of those graded stakes races on Friday. And we'll close things out answering some of your tweets and your post with what's on your mind for this week. Hope you enjoy this episode. September 26, 2019. Recording this episode of That's What G Said podcast in the middle of what I just love this time of the year when it comes to sports. The middle of, just kind of stopped in the middle of a sentence right there, didn't I? I was going to say the middle of the best time of the year in sports. Right now, well, on this episode, we're going to talk a lot of football, some horse racing, but coming up, we have the baseball playoffs starting next week on October the 1st. Tuesday and Wednesday are the wild card games, and then the divisional rounds start, I believe, on Thursday and Friday. NBA training camp starts. The Lakers have their first preseason game on October the 5th. Santa Anita is just opening up. We have big races now coming up each of the next few weekends leading up to the Breeders' Cup, which means we also have big prep races at Belmont Park. We have big prep races starting up soon at Keeneland. Breeders' Cup, November 1st and 2nd. If you're a wrestling fan, WWE moving to Fox next Friday for SmackDown. All Elite Wrestling going to be on television. TNT, NXT is now on USA. TNA even is now going to be moving to Access on Tuesday. So you're going to have a nice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday wrestling schedule there. If you're a fan of some good television, how about the Good Place and Superstore making their returns? Lots going on right now. And that's in the next few weeks. And you heard the intro for this show. This will be college football, NFL. We'll preview the Thursday night game in Little Santa Anita for Friday opening day. Guess what, folks? I'm starting the childcare classes next week because me and Stephanie, 5 weeks away. Due date for the baby, for little baby boy Bakula, will be on November the 4th. So, not far away. Getting excited now, starting the classes. I keep just picturing like the Lamaze classes that we see in every movie with the but we have a few different of these childcare and childcare prep classes that we'll have coming up soon. So, wish us luck as we get closer and closer to the big day. College football. From just a betting standpoint, last week was so frustrating. Ended up 3-5 overall last week, and we really liked the slate. And the games that, so it started out, it was going to be a rough week when it started out with that Houston loss. That was just a bad loss. That's going to go down on on the bad beats of the year as far as college football. Had no business not covering that. Now they lose their quarterback. North Carolina, we had North Carolina -3. Turned the ball over 3 times. Still have a chance late in the game to score a touchdown into cover. And end up losing by 3. Kansas, we have +4. They end up losing that game by 5. Michigan gets blown out. Just a terrible start for Michigan, too. You knew right away they were in some trouble because turned the ball over, and then they had a bad call go against them. It looked like it was a catch that should have kept the drive alive. And then Stanford. You hold Oregon to 21 points. You can't get yourself to 12. So that's a rough, with the Houston, the Kansas, Stanford. We could have been on the right side of a lot of those games. Now 8-7 in college overall this year against the spread. And just 2 plays this week in college football. It's a good week, though, on the slate. There are a couple of good games on Friday. On Saturday, USC plays Washington up at Washington. USC coming off their big win against Utah. Now down to their third-string quarterback. I don't like this game as far as playing the game. This is a game I think is going to be tough for USC. We've got Virginia at Notre Dame. Ohio State at Nebraska. And I think the Washington State at Utah game is going to be a little bit interesting. 7 o'clock night game. No, I guess, real big matchups. Like we had a couple of really top tier matchups last week. And it'll kind of lead a lot of the way I play the games are, you'll hear people talk about playing spots or playing teams. I mostly play spots, but it has to be a combination of you're playing spots because a team. A lot of times you're playing spots, but I can't play a spot unless I trust the team in the spot. So I guess it's a combination of both. For me, always. Just the 2 plays this week. There were 2 other games that I looked at. I'm probably not going to play. If you're thinking about playing, maybe throw them into a parlay or something. If you're going to, or if you're playing small. I know people like to play a lot of parlays. It's obviously not the smart play to make. But if you're playing small ones, for some fun, trying to make a few bucks, I'm not against it. ASU at Cal. Cal's coming off that big win last week at Mississippi, and that game was really weird at the end of the game. The refs didn't look at that one play against Mississippi when they really should have, and Mississippi could have had the opportunity to tie that game up. I think this is going to be a little bit of a weird game for Cal, because remember, ASU lost last week. We played Colorado against ASU last week. That was one of our couple of victories along with Notre Dame and USC. And now I think ASU was a little overvalued because they were coming off the win against Michigan State. Now they might be a little undervalued because they're coming off the loss against Colorado, and California's coming off their win. They might be a little overvalued. I think this looks like an okay spot. If you can get Arizona State at +5, I'm just still a little tentative. So this was one of the 2 games I looked at, but not going to be one of my 2 plays this week. The other one was Northwestern +24. This is just a spot too. I feel like Wisconsin was up so big last week. They got up so big for that game. Maybe they just play a little flat in this game. I don't think they lose by any means, but maybe they just win this game by 17. 21. 24 and a half seems like a lot. Looked at those 2, but the 2 plays will be Maryland +7. Make sure you can get 7. Look around for 7. It's 6.5, 7, but I see 7 in some different places, and I was able to get a 7. Penn State just didn't look very good in a couple games this year against Buffalo and against Pitt. Now, those 2 teams really aren't that bad. They ended up winning against Pitt 17-10. Pitt actually had more total yards and more first downs than Penn State. Maryland looked like a world beater in their first couple games. They scored 79 and 63 points in their first two games. And then they had a flat game last week at Temple. After a couple good games, they had Penn State coming up. I'm sure they were looking ahead to this game with a big game, against Penn State circled. And that game against Temple was a trap game. Maryland threw an interception on the 39-yard line. They missed a 4th and goal from the 1. They missed a 42-yard field goal. They got stopped on a 4th and 3 at the 16. They missed an extra point. Then with 4 minutes and 53 seconds left, Maryland had a 1st and goal from the 4. Ended up 3rd and goal from the 1. They couldn't get in twice. Penn State was actually down at half to Buffalo. You dig into their numbers a little bit, they aren't that dominant of a team that you would expect as a number 12 ranking. They've allowed 6 sacks, 12 tackles for loss in weeks 2 and 3 against Buffalo and Pitt. Some good stats found with the SI, Sports Illustrated Gambling. Maryland averages 8.6 tackles for loss per game. Even when they struggled to score last week against Temple, they only allowed 20 points, and their defense played very well. Other than a big holding on a 3rd and 14 that ended up giving Temple a 1st and goal and a go-ahead touchdown. But the D does. It's a strong D. I just don't like this matchup for Penn State. I've been looking for good spots to try to play against this team, and I think this is a good one, and it's a good spot. Maryland plus the 7 at home against Penn State. This game's on Friday night. Friday night, 5 Pacific. The Arizona State California game is also Friday night. But first play, Maryland plus 7 versus Penn State. Second game I like. Only 2 I'll be playing this week. Virginia plus 12.5 at Notre Dame. Played Notre Dame last week. Hung tough with Georgia. Started to get a little nervous. Looked like that game was going to slip away. But they hung tough, and that's what scares me. They go and play a really big game against Georgia on the road. A game that has big-time playoff and national championship implications for a team like Notre Dame who has high expectations. That's their big game they circle. Now they come back and play a Virginia team who, to Notre Dame, this is just another game. To Virginia, this is the biggest game of their year. They circle this game. And Virginia was looking ahead last week. They are coming off their trap game where they overlooked Old Dominion. Virginia was down 17-7 at the half, but then they shut Old Dominion out in the second half. I think it's going to be a different story for Virginia this week. I think they come out firing. I think they were ready for this game. I think Notre Dame may be a little bit flat, a little banged up after playing Georgia. Let's go Virginia in here plus the 12.5 at Notre Dame. Maryland plus 7 versus Penn State. Virginia plus 12.5 at Notre Dame. 2 plays this weekend, trying to improve on the 8 and 7. Mentioned the other 2 games I looked at if you want to go a little deeper, but for me, just those 2. Good luck in the college slate. NFL recaps. Gotta say, I love the hours spent watching these recaps. I really do. It's good for many ways, right? If you're someone who gambles, I think it's nice to be able to watch the games back and see what happens all the way throughout. If you're someone who plays fantasy football, it's nice to see what happens, how much certain players are involved. Sometimes you don't see things in the statistics, whether there be penalties or plays called back, or little things happen that might not be written in somewhere. It's so much better when you can see it yourself. So I'll try to be the best eyes for you in a lot of these recaps and point out anything that just seems a little bit off or a little bit interesting to me. And this is coming off a week where it's so different now with all these new quarterbacks. And we saw some real impressive performances this week. Let's kick things off with the Thursday night football game from last week. We recapped on the Friday episode. That was Jags-Titans. And remember, that game was all about the Jags defense. They just were sacking Mariota like crazy. Minshew was fine. Fournette broke a late run. The Jags were up pretty steady throughout. there. A couple of drops actually could have put the Jags up big even earlier. So if you want to hear about that game, you can listen into last week's episode where we recapped that one and went through all the Sunday games. Let's talk Packers-Denver. This game was Packers 27, Denver 16. Pack got the ball to start. 5 plays in, defensive offsides on Denver. Rodgers takes a shot downfield like always on the free play. 40-yard touchdown. Green Bay's up 7-0 right off the bat, just like they've been all year long with 12:20 left in the first quarter. Broncos get a 60-yard run back on a kickoff. Can't move the ball. 3 and out. Packers have a 3rd and 15. And Rodgers hits Valdez-Scantling on the run for 20. Just misses the tight end for a touchdown. End up having to punt. There's a penalty on the fair catch for interference. It actually was a bad call. It looked like the Packer player got blocked into the Denver receiver. It gave Denver an extra 15 yards to start the drive. And Denver had some long drives in this game. They went 15 plays, 77 yards for a touchdown, 8:35 time of possession. 14 plays for positive yardage. Flacco was 5 of 6 on the drive. He actually scrambled for a first down on 3rd and 3. 7-7 with 14 minutes and 18 seconds left in the half. Packers drive the ball. They have to settle for a field goal, so now it's 10-7 with 11:19 left in the half. Denver, again with another one of these drives. They go 15 plays, 63 yards. They have to kick a field goal, though. 7:29 time of possession for the drive. Lindsey goes for 9. They get a Font pass for 17. Freeman for 4, then for 5. Sanders for 6 and a pass. Lindsey for 4. Lindsey for a 12-yard pass. Freeman scores a touchdown. It gets nullified by a holding call. Then it's 3rd and goal. Flacco gets sacked for 10 yards. And then they have to kick a 30-yard field goal. So it's 10-10 with 3:50 left in the half. After forcing a 3 and out, Denver gets the ball. So it's 2:17 now. It's 10-10. They got the momentum. They've had 2 really nice drives. First play, Flacco gets sacked, fumbled, recovered by Green Bay on the 7-yard line. It's 1st and goal for Green Bay. 2 plays later, they score a touchdown. The Packers have been taking advantage all year long. They score a touchdown right before half. Instead of, the Denver possibly kicking a field goal or getting up 13-10 or going into the half 10-10. Now they're down 17-10 at the half. And then Denver gets the ball to start. 3rd play of the half of the second half of the 3rd quarter. Another fumble by Denver. On a pass to Font, ball gets picked up. 1st down, but the ball gets punched out. So now it's 1st and 10 for Green Bay at the Denver 37. Rodgers to Vitale for 27 yards, and then an Aaron Jones touchdown. Boom. It's 10-10. You turn the ball over twice. They score 2 touchdowns. Now you're down by 14 with 12 minutes in the 3rd. Denver goes on another long drive. 12 plays, 75 yards, 6 minutes and 10 on this drive. But they missed the extra point. It's a 4th and goal from the 1. Lindsey makes this unbelievable run. He looks like he was stuffed at the 3. He breaks a couple tackles. Then at the 2, he powers through a couple tacklers. And it's a really good run for a touchdown. 24-16. It was an ugly Packers drive right after this. They end up punting. After a Denver penalty, the Broncos start on their own 3. They have a 3rd and 6. And then a great throw from Flacco to a wide open Sutton for 52 yards. Denver gets down to the Green Bay 38. Flacco throws an interception every time they're about to make something happen. Looks like they take the momentum. You get a fumble, then you get an interception. The Packer offense just was not good, though. They kind of left Denver in the game. Rodgers had to throw it away repeatedly for a couple drives. Then you get a Broncos punt. Packers were finally able to move the ball a little bit. It was 3rd and 5 on a pass to Williams. Crosby hits a 41-yard field goal. It's 27-16 with 5:49 left in the game. Denver ends up picking up a 3rd and 14. They're trying to score, but they can't sustain the drive. They have to turn the ball over on downs with 2:17 left. Green Bay even misses a field goal from 45 yards with 1:09 left. They end up winning the game 27-16. When you look at the overall stats, you probably think Denver wins this game until you look at the turnovers. Denver had 310 total yards. Green Bay had 312. They were even. Denver had 20 first downs to Green Bay's 16 first downs. Denver was 8 of 15 on third down. Green Bay was only 2 of 9. Denver ran 73 total plays. Green Bay only ran 52. Denver had the ball for 35 minutes, plus Green Bay only had it for around 24. Denver only had 3 penalties for 27 yards, but they had 3 turnovers. And on those 3 turnovers, scored 14 points for Green Bay. They immediately scored 2 touchdowns after. Denver is 0-3 for the first time since 1999. And the Broncos are the only team in the last 50 years not to have a sack or a takeaway through 3 games. This was a stat we've seen floating around Twitter, a few different spots. I think it's on Mike Lease, 9 News. Last 50 years, the first team not to have a sack or a takeaway through 3 games. It was supposed to be that vaunted defense with Fangio. Lions, Eagles. Lions 24, Eagles. Lions 27, Eagles 24. They beat the Eagles. Marvin Jones Jr. had a really good game. He had over 100 yards. Golladay was kind of quiet. And the Eagles overall, they've just been banged up, and they had 7 or 8 drops, depending on what the different stats. Either way, that's a lot of drops. That's too many drops. Philly starts the game, 40-yard pass to Sanders. It's 3rd and 11 at the 25. Pass interference on Detroit. It sets up a 1st and 10 at the 11. Wentz overthrow on 3rd down, so Philly has to kick a field goal. The 11:28 in the first. They're up 3-0. Next play, 100-yard touchdown on a kick return from Agnew for Detroit. Detroit's up 7-3. They have not run an offensive play with 11:14 left. There might have been one hand that touched him. Great setup, great blocking, great run, great everything on the return from Detroit. Philly gets the ball back. You get Wentz to Ertz, wide open for 23 yards. Jordan Howard with a few nice runs, 11, 6, 2 yards. Sanders picks up 9 on a 3rd and 1. He was involved a lot. Sanders, he had 13 carries for 53 yards. Involved in the passing game, a good amount also. 3rd and 6, Wentz steps up and runs for 19 to the 1-yard line. Next play, touchdown, Howard. 10-3 Philly early. 6:15 left in the first, so it looks like Philly's going to jump on top and maybe blow Detroit out. Not so fast. 3rd and 1. Detroit picks up the first down with Johnson. 3rd and 10 to Golladay for 10. Johnson was running well early. 2 yards, 5 yards, 11 yards, and a touchdown. 13-play drive, 75 yards and a touchdown. 7:06 on that drive. 7 minutes and 6 seconds that drive took up. TJ Hawkinson had an easy touchdown, but he stepped out the back of the end zone before making the catch. There was a penalty on Philly for offsides on the next play for Detroit. They scored. So it's 14-10 Detroit with 14:09 left in the half. Wentz escapes a couple of sacks, but a bad miss had Sanders wide open for at least 15. It might have been a touchdown. There was nobody in sight. Philly picks up a 3rd and 7. Then an OPI call sets Philly back. So many offensive pass interference calls. Aguilar drops the first down, so Philly has to punt. That was a bad drive for Philly. There was a Wentz overthrow. They had an OPI and an Aguilar drop. They had opportunities to really, really do a lot more on that drive where they had to punt. But Detroit doesn't capitalize. They have to punt it right back. Philly drives. They pick up a first down. Sanders fumbles. Philly recovers. Philly gets to their 45. It's 2nd and 4. And then another Sanders fumble that's recovered by Detroit. It's punched out. And Detroit gets the ball on their own 49. On the next play, it's a reverse to McKissick for 44 yards. Detroit has 1st and goal at the Philly 7. They have to kick a field goal, though. So it's the 17-10 Detroit with 3:29 left in the half. Philly gets the ball. Wentz to Ertz for 23 yards. Wentz with the 5-yard scramble. Then a 12-yard pass to Hollins. Pass to Aguilar. Fumbles. Detroit gets the ball and returns to Philly 22-yard line with a 1:51. But again, Detroit only able to get a field goal, now up 20-10 with 52 seconds left in the half. And the Lions get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, but they have to punt. Eagles get the ball, they're driving, but a bad OPI call on 3rd and 7. It should have been an Eagles first down. Instead, the Eagles have to punt. Detroit's pinned back. They're just able to pick up a first down. Then they have to punt also. Eagles with a quick touchdown drive, 6 plays, 47 yards. Aguilar with a 20-yard touchdown. It's 2017 with 4:15 left in the third. 3rd and 4, Stafford makes a great play to Marvin Jones for 27 yards. Another near Hawkinson touchdown. He gets stripped before the completion. Marvin Jones, again, 12 yards, nice catch, and a very good throw where only Jones could get it for a touchdown. 27-17, Detroit with 14:49 left. Wentz with the ball, he just kind of steps right into back-to-back sacks. So it's a quick 3-and-out for Philly, then a quick 3-and-out for Detroit. Golladay was out of bounds on a first down catch, so Detroit has to punt it back. Wentz goes deep to Sanders for 38 yards, then Sanders for a couple nice runs for 5 for 14. Wentz hits Goddard wide open in the end zone. It's a bad drop. It was 3rd and 7. Wentz has to throw it away, but a Detroit roughing the passer call gives Philly an automatic first down. It was going to be 3rd and 7 for Philly, but the unnecessary roughness sets up 1st and goal at the 5. Aguilar touchdown. Now it's just 27-24 with 6:59 left. A big 3rd and 11 for Detroit. They go to Amendola for 15. They're able to drive down the field for 8 plays, 35 yards, and they're able to take 3 minutes and 43 seconds off the clock. Then they punt it back. Stafford was on the run. He underthrows Jones. It would have been a first down. With 3:25 left, Eagles just can't move the ball at all. They have to turn the ball over on downs. It's 3rd and 10. They just miss. And Detroit, after just missing that 3rd and 10 to Jones at the 2-yard line, they have to try to kick a field goal. It gets blocked. Philly still couldn't take advantage. They have a 4th and 8 completion and ends up being offensive pass interference on Sproles. Then a 4th and 15. It looks like the ball's caught in the end zone by Arcega-Whiteside. Would have won the game. Dropped. That's the name of the game for Philly. Injuries and drops. They go to 1-2, and the Lions remain unbeaten through 3 weeks. Chiefs 33, Ravens 28. Chiefs got the ball to start, and you get a Mahomes scramble for 11 yards to pick up a first down. Kelsey for 20 yards. Watkins for 11 yards. Fumbles the ball, though, recovered by KC. Then an intentional grounding call and a big Baltimore sack forces a Kansas City punt. It was a great first drive for Baltimore, 23 yards to Boyle. Ingram for a 21-yard run. Jackson overthrows Brown a couple times. And a couple Lamar runs, 7-yard scramble. It sets up a 4th and 2 at the Kansas City 9. Lamar runs for a first down, and then an easy Ingram touchdown. There was a penalty on Kansas City on the extra point, so Baltimore tried to go for 2 since it was closer, but they missed 6-0 with 4:24 left in the first. McCoy was running really well, even though he was banged up, and he left the game and apparently banged up for Kansas City. Mahomes to Kelsey for 21 yards. And then you add 15 for a personal foul. It was 3rd and goal. Pressure on Mahomes. He had to throw it away. It should have been 4th and 4. Then a horse collar tackle on Baltimore gave an automatic first down to Kansas City, and they scored a touchdown. With 14-18 in the second, KC was up 7-6. Baltimore gets a first down. Spot was bad. It gets challenged and overturned. So it was 4th and 1. They get it. 4th and 2, Lamar, low throw under pressure. So Kansas City gets the ball. 5 plays, 47-yard drive. DeMarcus Robinson, nice one-handed yard touchdown catch. 14-6 with 7:52 left in the half. Lamar's a real inaccurate early. Overthrows, not great on the run. Screen pass deflected. Gus Edwards had a long touchdown run that was negated by a penalty and ended up being a Baltimore punt. Kansas City goes on a nice little drive with a 9-yard McCoy run, 4-yard McCoy run, 83-yard pass to Hardman, wide open. 26 after the missed extra point with 3 minutes left in the half. Lamar with a wild throw on 3rd and 15. He overthrows Hurst on 3rd and 15. KC gets the ball with 1:18 left in the half. Another great catch by Robinson. It sets up Kansas City drive for a field goal to end the half. They are just so scary. Baltimore takes a 6-0 lead. They have a turnover on downs, and they punt. And all of a sudden, instead of being up 6-0, they're down 20-6. Because KC gets the ball and scores 3 times. Baltimore got the ball to start the third quarter. They go 9 plays, 75-yard drive, 8 runs. All 75 yards on this drive was rushing. 23-13 with 10 minutes 35 left in the third. So they're down 10 now. It starts to really rain. McCoy's running hard. But botched snap on fourth down gives Baltimore the ball on their 43-yard line, but they cannot capitalize. They have to punt to Kansas City. 8 plays, 80-yard touchdown for KC. Near Mahomes' interception. Baltimore defenders had it right in their arms. There's a big 3rd and 6 for Kansas City at the Baltimore 28. Mahomes with an interception. It got overturned by a penalty. Pass interference. McCoy with the screen pass touchdown. It was 30-13 with 2:07 left in the quarter. A nice 13-play, 75-yard drive for Baltimore. Lamar missed a throw to Brown. Takes a bad sack for 12 yards. It was 4th and 5. Falling down. He just throws one up to Seth Roberts for 25 yards. And to the 2. I mean, it was an absolute heave up. Baltimore scored a touchdown. They're down 30-19 with 12:22 left. They go for 2. And they miss it. I saw a lot of people talking about this. I looked this up. If they were to kick the extra point, they would have a 7.2 chance to win. They make the 2-point conversion, a 10.9 chance to win. If they miss the 2-point conversion, a 5.7 chance to win. It actually was the right play by Harbaugh. After a Sammy Watkins drop, Kansas City has to punt. Baltimore drives a great throw and catch to Brown from Lamar. And then on the next play, Lamar overthrows him. Lamar rolls right, throws completely across the field for 23 yards on 3rd and 17. And then he throws it away, then into traffic, then he takes a sack. Baltimore has to kick a field goal, so they're down 30-22 with 6:39 left. Kansas City gets a 41-yard run from Darrell Williams, and then they kick a field goal, so now they're up 33-22 with 4:36 left. Lamar with a kind of a fancy shovel pass. He just kind of flips it on over. A nice run for a touchdown after that for 9 yards. He breaks a few tackles and he sidesteps in. Kansas City just needed to get 1 first down to win the game, and they got a 16-yard pass from Mahomes. You look at the final numbers overall, Baltimore hung pretty tough, but Kansas City and their explosiveness, Baltimore with a couple extra penalties, that proved to be the difference in the game. Buffalo 21, Cincinnati 17. Buffalo got a big in this game early. Allen, he had his first pass was almost a tipped interception, though, on a high throw. They had a 3-and-out in their first drive. John Ross with a drop on the first play for Cincinnati. Dalton was pressured a lot early. They had a 3-and-out in their first drive. Gore ran really well in this game, though. 14 carries, 76 yards, a touchdown, a couple of receptions for 13 yards. There was pressure on Allen a couple times. He made a nice throw on the run to pick up a first down on 3rd and 17, 27-yard pass. Then there was an intentional grounding penalty that took Buffalo out of field goal range. Bengals drove legal formation, lots of pressure on Dalton. They punt back to Buffalo. It was a nice drive for Allen. It was a little high on a few passes, but his receivers helped him out. Then a great throw on 3rd and 6, compounded with the Bengals roughing the passer penalty. Then a personal foul set up a Buffalo touchdown. There's a penalty on the kick. It gave Buffalo a clear 2-point conversion. It was 8-0 Buffalo. This is another time where we saw team get the penalty on the kick, and then instead of just taking the kick, they decided to move it up and go for 2. Ravens didn't get it. Buffalo did get it. Bengals run the kickoff back, but it's holding, so the touchdown gets negated. On a first down from their own 25 with 2:49 left in the first, they're trying to get the run established, but nothing for Cincy. They just go 3-and-out. Josh Allen to John Brown. There's a drop, then a holding penalty, which pushes Buffalo back. Allen trips, fumbles, picks the ball up, and then makes a pass for a couple yards. Bills kick a field goal. It's now 11-0. After a first down for Cincinnati, we get a John Ross fumble. Bills get the ball, first down at the Cincy 39. Allen makes a nice play, a near touchdown pass, but he gets broken up in the end zone. Knox gets tangled. Knox was getting targeted quite a bit and involved a lot. Maybe someone to keep an eye on for fantasy purposes. So the Bills up 11-0. There was a fumble by Yeldon on the 10-yard line going in. It cost them at least 3 points. 3 and out for Cincinnati. The Bills got the ball with 5:09 left in the half. Bills picked up a first down, but it was overturned. The ball hit the ground on a pass to Brown, forces a Bills field goal. So it's 14-0 with 2:11 left in the half. Dalton pass was deflected. Then a nice 25-yard play to Tate. They just missed on a touchdown pass to Ross up the sideline. Hit Ross's fingers, but just out of his reach. Then a big sack on 3rd and 10. It forces a Bengals punt. And the Bills get the ball with 1:23 left. Allen runs the ball. He fumbles. It looks like the Bengals recover in bounds on the sideline, but they're out of bounds. Ball goes back to the Bills. I thought it was a bad call on the 30-yard line. Allen overthrows Zay Jones for a touchdown, and they get Hauschka's 62-yard field goal attempt at the end of the half, but it's no good. Bills are up 14-0. Cincinnati's drives to start the game. 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt. 1 play fumble, 3 and out, punt, 5 plays, 16 yards, punt. 1 play fumble, 4 plays, punt, 3 plays, interception. And they got right back in this game. They had the ball to start the third quarter. Just under a ton of pressure, 1 first down, then they had a punt. Things are going well for Buffalo, but Buffalo has to punt, so both teams punt on their first possession of the second half. Then a Dalton interception to the Buffalo 40. 3 plays later, Josh Allen returns the favor with an interception. That gets returned to the Buffalo 22. Just trying to do a little too much. Buffalo should have been up a lot more than 14-0 because 3 plays later, the Bengals score a touchdown. It's 14-7 now with 5:50 left in the third. Gore with the big run for 22 yards. Yeldon with the 10-yard run. 1st and 10 for at the Cincy 40. The Bills are driving. Then a near interception on an Allen pass. Bills punt. Cincy gets the ball. 14-yard run for Mixon. First down pass for Dalton. Another first down pass for Dalton. Another first down pass to Boyd on a slant on 3rd and 4. Really nice drive from the Bengals. Ended with the short pass to Mixon for a touchdown. 14-14 with 12:27 left. Bills pick up a first down, but they have to punt the ball back to Cincinnati. Bengals pick up a huge 3rd and 9 on their own 15. Dalton to Boyd for 26 yards. 2nd and 12, screen pass to Mixon for 33 yards. Cincinnati field goal to take a 17-14 lead with 4:54 left. Bills, they get a pass to Beasley for 8 yards, and a big play to Knox for 49 yards. Josh Allen with a few really impressive runs for first downs. He's breaking tackles all over. It sets up a short touchdown. Bills lead 21-17 with 1:50 left. Bengals pick up a first few downs. They really start to move the ball well. They're down to the Buffalo 28. It's 3rd and 5. A pass is too high. It's tipped off Tate's hands for an interception to end the game with 12 seconds left. The Bills are able to hold on. Cincy turned the ball over 4 times to the Buffalo 2. Still able to cover this game on the road. Buffalo might have been looking ahead to the big game they have this weekend with the Patriots. Colts-Falcons. Colts 27, Falcons 24. Colts got the ball to start. It was a steady drive and ended up with a 49-yard field goal for Vinatieri. He is still in the mix even after his few bad weeks, and this one banked off the upright and in. Colts got up 3-0. Falcons had the ball with 9:25 left in the first. First play, Freeman goes for 28 yards up the middle. He ran a lot better in this game. 16 carries for 88 yards, and then a couple receptions for 7 yards. There was a big penalty on a 3rd and 5 that made it 3rd and 15. It took Atlanta out of field goal range, so they had a punt. Marlon Mack running really well in his first couple drives. 5 yards, 14 yards, 8 yards, 9-yard pass. Then on a big pass to T.Y. Hilton, a couple penalties on Atlanta, a personal foul. It was tough to call because T.Y. was making an adjustment to come get the ball. They called the personal foul on the defender. I hate those calls. Brissett had a 3rd and 5 pass to Ebron that he hits wide. Then he hits a wide open Pascal for a touchdown. So 10-0 Colts early with 1:25 left in the first. Atlanta's moving the ball well, though. They get to Jones for 17 yards, Cooper for 20, Freeman for 6, then for 4. And then Matt Ryan throws just an awful interception at the Colts' 4-yard line. Indy gets the ball after that. They go 94 yards, 15 plays, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Past the 5 different receivers on the drive. They have it at 1st and goal at the 1. They end up losing 2 yards, and they have to kick a field goal at 4th and goal from the 3. So they go up 13-0. After another nice Freeman run, Atlanta has to settle for a field goal, 13-3 with 2:13 left in the half. Indy goes off on a 10-play, 64-yard drive. Busted play on 3rd and 1 at the Atlanta 31. It should have been 4th and 3. Too many men on the field for Atlanta. Hines was good out of the backfield, catching passes for the Colts. And then a bummer of a play. Keanu Neal, who was injured for Atlanta, could tell he had a bad injury, and so he threw his helmet to the ground after re-injuring a knee that kept him out for all of 2018. And the refs gave him an unsportsmanlike conduct, even though he was injured. Gave Indy 5 yards and a 1st and goal at the 4. And after a Brissett pass and a near interception, the Colts scored a touchdown, so it's 20-3 with 9 seconds left in the half. Atlanta gets the ball to start the half. They go on a nice 8-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. Sanu for 16, Julio Jones for 34, and a touchdown to Hooper. 20-10 with 10:30 left in the third. Indy goes 3 and out. They punt to Atlanta, and Atlanta goes on a long 16-play, 78-yard drive. Atlanta had 3 drives in the second half. They scored all 3. They only had 3. This drive goes 9:56. They get a 3rd and 10 to Julio for 15, a 3rd and 12 to Julio for 21, a 3rd and 10 to Sanu for 12, a 3rd and 2 to Ridley for 6, 5 third-down conversions on the drive for Atlanta, really 6, because there was one that was taken away by a penalty, and they actually got it. 2017 Colts with 13:51 to go. The Colts get a near interception on a short pass. They go on an 11-play, 75-yard drive, 5 minutes, 11 seconds. Defensive holding on 3rd and 10 was a huge play to keep the drive alive. It gave them an automatic first down and kept the Colts' drive alive, which ended up in a touchdown. 27-17, Colts lead with 8:40 left. Atlanta ball with 4:57 left. It's 3rd and 11. PI on Indy, on Julio, so it's an automatic first down. And then a roughing the passer call sets up Atlanta 1st and goal. Julio Jones touchdown. Atlanta's right back in at 27-24 with 4 minutes left to go. Atlanta has all 3 timeouts. They just can't stop Marlon Mack. 4 yards, 4 yards, 26 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards. A Brissett throw to Ebron for 8, to Doyle for 11 to get a first down and ice the game. Indy was 5 of 8 on 3rd down. They are 4th in the league in 3rd down conversion percentage, and Brissett just seems to always make plays. Atlanta just couldn't get the ball back enough in the second half. They only got the ball 3 times, scored all 3. They had 16 penalties, though. They are tied for 1st in the league with 35 penalties, and they're 2nd in penalty yardage, 264 total yards of penalties. They had more total yards, but they just had too many penalties. Bad Matt Ryan interception, and they couldn't make big stops. So the Colts now 2-1, Atlanta's 1-2 as they move into week 4. Pats Jets. This game is just ugly. These Jets games are hard to watch, and the first few Pats games have been kind of hard to watch. The Jets had the ball early. They picked up a first down, then they punted. The Pats got the ball, a couple passes to Bolden and to Edelman. They had a big pass for 41 yards. Brady got hit pretty well in this game. He got hit a couple times. They went on a 9-play, 88-yard drive, scored a touchdown. But another missed extra point for Gostkowski. He's got a missed field goal and 3 missed extra points in 3 games. Jets 3 and out. Then the Patriots go 3 plays for a touchdown. 13-0 with 4:25 in the first. A 3 and out for the Jets. Pats go 10 plays, 59 yards, 4:24 time of possession. Edelman for a wide open touchdown. It's 20-0 just into the second quarter. Then things start to get a little ugly. Jets throw a near interception. Brady throws a near interception. After the Pats score, you get 3. Jets go 3 yards and punt, or negative 3 yards and punt. Pats go negative 5 yards and punt. Jets go 4 plays, 18 yards punt. Pats go 5 plays, 19 yards punt. Jets go 4 plays, punt. Pats go 5 plays, punt. Just ugly. Patriots have to punt to start the third quarter. Falk then throws a bad interception on 3rd and 12. Patriots only able to kick a field goal. It's 23-0. A couple penalties hurt them on that drive. They get up 30-0, but they muff a punt, and the Jets are able to score a touchdown, so it's 30-7. Olszewski, Edelman was hurt. Gordon in this game, a couple really nice catches for the Pats. And Stidham, the Beckham quarterback, comes into the game for Brady. He overthrows a receiver for a pick 6 for the Jets, who are now down 30-14, which ends up being the final. Brady came back into the game. Patriots just signed Cody Kessler as another quarterback. Maybe to battle for their backup spot, who knows, or maybe just to add a body for practice. Jets had 105 total yards, 2.2 yards per play. They were 0 for 12 on 3rd down. Patriots they've been sloppy, though, even in these games against the Jets and the Dolphins. They had 2 turnovers, 8 penalties for 70 yards, missed extra point. They have to clean things up against these better teams. I want to let you all know about Thrive Fantasy. Stop right now. I know you like football. You probably like gambling. Go check out thrivefantasy.com or go download the app. It's a new DFS app for props. Do you guys like to play prop wagers? Well, this is how you play at Thrive Fantasy. You build a lineup based on props. And if you're thinking, I don't know, this sounds a little different, well, go check it out. I'll give you an additional reason why. If you sign up right now and use the promo code GINO, if you deposit $10, you'll get a $10 bonus right there. So if you just deposit 10 in, you'll get 10 right back. You'll have 20 to play around with. Try a few contests. Let me know what you think. I like it. It's DFS. It's a little bit of gambling, but just a little bit of a different take, and it gives you some action. You can play in contests for just a few bucks. You can play in bigger contests if you want, depending on whatever your budget is. Give it a look. ThriveFantasy.com and check out that Thrive Fantasy app. Use the promo code GINO for that $10 bonus when you deposit $10. Vikings Raiders. Vikings 33. The Raiders 14. And the Vikings were beating up on the Raiders most of this game. But as a Vikings fan, you really have to be still disappointed with what we've seen from Kirk Cousins. In the first play of the game, he trips over the center after the snap. They had a 3-and-out defensive holding on 1st down. Nice pass to Irv Smith for the Vikes. And then Thielen for a touchdown. So a 35-yard touchdown, 7-0 with 11:21 in the first. Looks like you're going to get a 3-and-out. Instead, defensive holding gives them a 1st down. That's what happens when you're the Raiders and you're a bad team. You just can't do that when you go on the road to start a game like that. You have to play cleaner. So now the Raiders give the Vikings an extra set of downs after a penalty, and then the Raiders go 3-and-out. Vikings punt right back. Raiders punt right back. There's a big 3rd and 6 play. Carr has to slide. And then can't pick it up. Then the Vikings, they go on a nice drive, which is aided by a roughing the passer penalty and a face mask. So the big drives aided by big penalties from the Raiders. Cousins with the 1st down scramble for 10 yards. Then a Dalvin Cook touchdown. He looks like the best running back in football right now. He is healthy. Let's hope he stays healthy. He looks really, really good. Vikes up 14-0 with 14:55 left in the half. 2 plays later, Carr badly overthrows a receiver on a short pass. Badly overthrows him. It sets up the Vikings on the Raiders 30. Vikings pick up a big 1st down and a 3rd and 2 to Cook. Then on a handoff to Thielen, they get up 21-0 with 11:06 left in the half. Raiders looking pitiful. But on 3rd and 11, they get a huge play to Waller on a screen for 30 yards. Waller had 13 receptions for 134 yards. He had 14 targets. I believe he's 2nd in the league in targets. There was a flea flicker touchdown pass for 29 yards to J.J. Nelson, 21-7, 7:26 left in the half. So the Raiders making a little noise. After a bad sequence for Cousins, it was missed timing with Thielen up the sideline, then a near interception on a short screen, then a punt. Raiders got up to midfield. They were moving the ball well. They were looking for Waller. He had his hands on one on 3rd and 6. It would have been a big first down for 20. Instead, it's 21-7 at the half. Raiders got the ball to start the second half, but a 3-and-out. And then Minnesota goes on a 10-play, 92-yard drive that took 5 minutes. It was aided by a big 24-yard Raider PI penalty again. So, again, the story of Minnesota's drives aided by big Raider penalties. Madison was running well in this game, too. He had 12 carries for 58 yards and a touchdown. 7:28 left in the third. It was 28-7 Minnesota. And then we just got some garbage time. The Raiders got stopped on a big 4th and 1. A nice game for Irv Smith, who had a big pass negated by a penalty. Vikes kick a field goal. They're up 31-7. Final score in this game is 34-14. Raiders have 7 penalties for 84 yards, and 5 of them that resulted in a first down for Minnesota. But Minnesota knows that Cousins just has to be better if they want to be better. Another game that I think a lot of people expected Dallas to really just beat up on the Dolphins. They end up winning 31-6, but Miami was hanging tough early, and they looked a little excited with the, I guess, maybe a little bounce in their step with Rosen starting. They got the ball to start. They had a 3rd and 4, and there was a really nice one-handed catch by Devontae Parker for 40 yards. Then the ball went right through Drake's hands. It would have been at least a 5-yard pass. Dolphins have to kick a field goal. Try, at least. Because they miss a 47-yard field goal. It's no good. Next play, Dallas ball. 37-yard pass to Amari. 3 plays later, it's a first down at the Miami 11. Dak tries to squeeze a pass in. There's an almost interception, but Dallas kicks a field goal. It's 3-0 with 10:27 left in the first. This game was tight. It was back and forth. Amari had a drop. Dak was a little shaky early. He had a couple overthrows. Then a nice pass to Witten up the sideline. Dallas goes up 10-0 with 5:57 left in the first quarter. But at the end of the half, it was only 10-6. Miami had a 2nd and goal at the 3. They couldn't get the touchdown, so they had to kick a field goal, so it's 10-3. They had an onside kick. It looked like they recovered it, but they got called for an offsides. It was really close. I don't know if they were offsides. I like Miami trying things. Dak with a bad interception he threw across his body in the middle of the field. The Dolphins go 3-and-out. They just missed a first down to Preston Williams with a punt. Dak with a deep pass into double coverage. He's lucky it wasn't picked off. And then Dallas has to punt. Miami's driving. A nice jump catch by Williams. Fitzpatrick made that pass. He comes in for a few plays. Rosen was a little banged up. But then Rosen comes back in, throws a TD pass to Williams, who just can't hold on to it. So touchdown does not stand. It might have been a touchdown, though. It looked like he had the control in both feet before the ball was knocked out. Instead, Miami has to kick a field goal, so it's 10-6 with 5:48 left in the half. Miami was playing well. They get another drive. They go 8 plays, 76 yards. There's a pass interference penalty for 26 yards. Drake goes 19-yard pass, 11-yard pass. It's 1st and goal for Miami at the Dallas 7. And then Drake fumbles the ball, costs Miami at least 3. Just 10-6 at the half. And then Dallas turns things on in the second half. Dallas, they get the ball in the second play. They score a 74-yard touchdown to Cobb. Nice move. Forces a missed tackle, but it gets nullified in a holding penalty. And then a nice throw on the run by Dak to Smith, who breaks tackles for 33 yards. Cobb gets an actual pass for 20 yards here, and then Amari with a 19-yard touchdown. So quickly, it's 17-6 Dallas with 12:28 left in the third. Miami gets the ball. Should have been a penalty on a late hit for pushing Rosen out of bounds. Instead, they have to punt. The Cowboys go on a 9-play, 76-yard touchdown drive. The Dolphins muff a punt that goes out of bounds. They get a first down off of Dallas roughing the passer. Just still can't do anything in the second half, though. Dallas ends up missing a field goal. There's a 4th and 6. Miami picks up a first down late in the game, but then they turn the ball over on downs. Dallas scores a late touchdown with 3:45 left. The Dolphins had 70 total yards in the second half of this game. The Cowboys are number 1 in the league in third down conversion percentage. Giants 32, Tampa 31. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. What a debut for Daniel Jones. Some unbelievable stats in this game. The Giants, it was the first time when trailing by 18 plus at half since 1949. So Tampa got the ball second play. I mean, early it was all Mike Evans. Mike Evans for 18 yards, for 14 yards. It was 4th and 1 at the Giants 41. They go for it. They get it. They miss on a TD pass to Howard, but then on the next play, touchdown Mike Evans. Missed the extra point, 6-0 Tampa early. Daniel Jones' first pass, completes it, 18 yards to Ingram. Then on a 3rd and 9, he gets a first down to Shepard for 26. On a 3rd and 6, great catch, one-handed by Ingram. And then after a field goal, 6-3. 4 minutes left in the first, Giants down. Ronald Jones looked real good. Catching a long screen pass. Bucks moved the ball really well. It was just so easy for Evans, a walk-in touchdown. They get the extra point block, so 2 touchdowns, but 2 missed extra points. So it's 12-3 with 21 seconds left in the quarter. I mean, Jones was good all over the place. He was scrambling. He picked up a 3rd and 5, scrambled for 11. Barkley left the game, but then came back in, and then that's the news. He leaves the game again. He's injured. We'll see the timetable on Barkley could be out for, we're seeing lots of different estimates, 4 to 8 weeks. Who knows with someone like Barkley, because he seems like he's the type who can come back from injuries quickly. But will he even be trying to if the Giants aren't battling for a playoff spot? He just kept picking up first downs, though, Danny Dimes, man. Big play after big play. 3rd and 4, he rolls out. Barkley for 19 yards. Some misses like any rookie you'd expect. So it's 12-10 after a DJ. Danny Dimes keeps it for a 7-yard touchdown run. 9:58 left in the half. Giants down 12-10. Next play, 55 yards to Mike Evans. But a big sack forces Tampa to just kick a field goal. So it's 15-10 Tampa. Dangerous throw from Jones. Tampa gets the ball back. It's 18-10. They kick a field goal. They challenge a non-PI call. They get it, actually. And we got to see Howard getting involved a little bit more. And then, unfortunately, Barkley goes down again. He comes out of the game. Giants are down 28-10 at the half. They get the ball to start the half. First play, 75-yard touchdown to Ingram, and they get the 2-point conversion. So all of a sudden, that 28-10 is just 28-18. 14 seconds into the half. Bucks have to punt. Giants start rolling. 19-yard pass to Shepard, 8-yard pass. Jones, some play action. He escapes some pressure. He throws to Slayton for 46 yards. 3rd and 7, a great throw in the end zone. Nice catch by Shepard. All of a sudden, 28-25 with 8:14. Quickly, the Giants are right back in it. Tampa 3 and out. Giants 3 and out. There's a scary play. Jones gets hit from behind, and the Tampa defender tried to jump over him. It looked like he kind of stepped on his helmet for a second inadvertently, but everybody seemed okay. 3rd and 5 for Tampa at the Giants 35. Interception. Jameis with a bad overthrow of a wide open Evans. Then Daniel Jones, second play after the interception. Ball gets knocked out of his hand, fumble, a great play by Shaq Barrett. And you get Ronald Jones for 5 yards, for 13 yards, for 7 yards, for 4, for 6, for 2. On a 3rd and 2, they go for it with Barber after Jones is running so well. Tampa kicks a field goal with 6 minutes left to go. They're up by 6, 31-25. Giants have to punt with 4:20 left to go. Tampa gets the ball back, but they go 3 and out, punt it back. So Giants get the ball down 6 with 3:16 left. After a big play to Shepard for 36 yards, They go 8 plays, 75 yards, a touchdown, 2 minutes on the time of possession. There's a 4th and 5 at the 7. Jones steps up and runs right up the middle, 32-31. 1:16 left in the game. And then a weird ending. Jameis throws a 20-yard touchdown throws 20 yards to Goodwin, and then 44 yards to Evans. So it's 1st and goal at the 9 with 13 seconds left. All they have to do is kick a field goal to win the game. They spike the ball, and then they just take a delay of game penalty. And Matt Gay misses from 34 yards. Could have been a 27-28 yard field goal. Instead, it's 34. And the Giants win 32-31. They outscored Tampa 22-3 in the second half. The legend of Danny Dimes is born. Another good-looking starting quarterback here. This one was Kyle Allen, Carolina. They win 38-20 over Arizona. It was back and forth early. A lot of McCaffrey in this game, 153 yards. But Kyle Allen's 4 touchdowns. He was a little shaky early. Wasn't the greatest start. He missed Olsen for a touchdown pass, and then there was a sack, and he fumbled on 3rd and 6 at the Arizona 15. After getting down early, Arizona takes a 7-0 lead. Carolina comes right back with a big drive, 11 plays, 75 yards. Allen escapes pressure, turns an 8-yard loss into a 1-yard gain, then a 15-yard penalty on Zona helps the Panthers drive. 3rd and goal at the 5, Allen feels some pressure, he rolls right, he throws a dart to Samuel in the back corner of the end zone with 14:09 left in the second, 7-7. Cardinals move the ball well. Murray, he trips though when he's trying to scramble and he avoid a tackle. He loses 12 yards. It goes from a 2nd and 9 to a 3rd and 21, which forces a punt. So then Carolina's able to get the ball. They have to punt. Zona goes on a long drive. They end up having to kick a field goal, though, with 1:36 left in the half, so it's 10-7. But Carolina goes on a quick 3-play drive, 47 seconds, a short pass to right. McCaffrey breaks tackles for 18 yards, and then more on a 52-yard pass. Kyle Allen looking all over the place at different receivers. Samuel breaks off to the inside. Allen hits him for a big run after the catch. 14-10 with 49 seconds left. Next play for the Arizona offense, a deep pass to Kirk. He can't hold on to it, though. It would have been at the Carolina 25. Ends up 14-10 at the half, Carolina. And then it was all Carolina's second half. Arizona scored, so they get up 17-14. But then Carolina comes right back with McCaffrey. And then a touchdown to a wide-open Olsen, 21-17. Murray scrambles. He moves around a little bit. It's 21-20, 2:50 left in the third. So Arizona's trying to hold strong, to fight. But Carolina's offense was just sustained. A little too much McCaffrey, a little too much Kyle Allen. Final score of this game was 35-20. It was 35-20 with 38-20. It was 35-20 with 13:32 left. And this is the last few drives for Arizona to end the game. 4 drives. 5 yards, 0 yards, -4 yards, -18 yards. They shut out Arizona in the fourth quarter. Arizona just couldn't do anything late. Interception, punt, interception, punt. The Houston Chargers game was a weird one. It was Houston 27, Chargers 20. Chargers got up early. Houston had the ball, and Watson was looking for a screen pass, and he got caught in between. It was weird. He kind of threw it backwards into the ground, so it was a fumble. Chargers got the ball on the 15, and 3 plays later, touchdown to Allen, who just had a monster game. He's leading the league in most of the receiving categories right now. He had 13 receptions for 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 targets in this game, and the word is that Melvin Gordon is coming back. Chargers now 1-2. They could use it. There was a touchdown that got nullified on a holding penalty. It cost the Chargers points, and they ended up kicking a field goal, so it's 10-0 with 10:32 left in the half. There's a big 3rd and 1 for Houston on their own 34. They needed a first down. They got a flea flicker for 38 yards to Stills, and the roughing the passer on that. So altogether, 52 yards on the play. Sets up a 16-yard touchdown pass to Fells. 10-7. 8:11 left in the half. There were two big plays in this game. Two big 3rd and 14 plays that Houston ended up getting that most likely won them the game. Chargers pick up a couple first downs. They punt. Houston picks up a couple first downs and a punt. And then a long drive. 8 plays, 89 yards for 1-8 in a minute. And 8 plays and 89 yards and a touchdown in a quick long drive that only took a minute and 18. Williams for 20 yards. And then a PI helped them. Some Eckler, some Williams. There were 3 penalties on Houston on the drive. It's 17-7 with 22 seconds left in the half. Great play by Watson to set up a field goal attempt, but they missed it. So 17-7 at the half. Chargers up. Look like they're cruising. Houston, it's a penalty on the punt on their first, gets a penalty on their first drive at a punt. Chargers 3 and out. Here comes that big 3rd and 14. 9-12 in the third. Houston gets Hopkins for 15 when they needed 14, and then Fuller for 30 yards. It sets up a nice touchdown. So now they're going back and forth, but this is just another game where the Chargers are going to look back and think that they really could have won. 3rd and 13 for the Chargers. They pick up 31. So they get to the Houston 29. It's 2nd and 4. It looks like a PI call on Allen. No call. It was challenged. Was upheld. Next play, it was a fumble. It was recovered by Houston. And then a roughing the passer penalty on the Chargers. The big 3rd and 3 pickup of 34 yards to Hopkins on a quick slant and run. Then a wide open touchdown. Houston gets up 21-17 with a minute 19 left in the third. The Chargers were only able to pick up a couple first downs. Then they have to punt. Texans gets the ball back with a chance to go up 2 scores. Watson throws a pick. Looked to be shaken up a little bit. But then offsetting penalties negate the interceptions. Just so many things for the Chargers, shooting them in the foot. Next play, looked like the Chargers have him wrapped up. He escapes over the middle, and wide open 53-yard touchdown. But they missed the extra point, so it's 27-17. That was the 3rd consecutive touchdown for Houston. Chargers were able to tack on a field goal, but nothing more. They had the ball with 4:19 left, a 1st and 10 on their own 16. But after a Rivers sack, things looked in trouble for the Chargers. But they pick up a 4th and 13. It's these big plays. 3rd and 14, 3rd and 14, 4th and 13. They picked up a 3rd and 13 earlier in the game, the Chargers did. Big plays on both sides. Looked like Travis Benjamin dropped a touchdown late. There's a 4th and 2. Eckler picked up a first down. Looked like they completed a pass that would have been inside the 10, and they called offensive holding. It set them back, and then a Rivers overthrow ended things for the Chargers. 27-20 Houston. The 49ers go to 3-0. They beat Pittsburgh 24-20, and this game is one that it was unbelievable what had happened here. This was the first time in the last 30 games where a team turned the ball over 5 times and won a game. Since 2016, teams were 0-28-1. 28 losses, a tie, and 0 wins when they've turned the ball over 5 times. Well, the 49ers won this game. A lot of it had to do with Rudolph just looking really inept, to be fair. I mean, they just were not moving the ball at all, Pittsburgh. They were not throwing the ball downfield at all. And Garoppolo was really unlucky. You know, you look at his stat line, he had a couple interceptions, and they really weren't his fault. There were just so many mistakes in here. Mistake. Every time it looked like San Francisco was starting to turn things around, there's another mistake, and they kept giving Pittsburgh every opportunity to win the game, and Pittsburgh couldn't take it. Third play, screen pass. Breida juggles it right into a defender's arm. And then Mostert drops a pitch and he fumbles, and then he recovers it back at the San Francisco 31. So they fumbled it. They had another fumble that they actually recovered. Jimmy G hits a wide receiver who can't make a play. Ball gets tipped up, interception. First 3 drive for San Francisco, 2 interceptions off the receiver's hands and a fumble that lost him 18 yards and almost allowed a touchdown. Crazy, it's only 6-0 after that. And that was really, Pittsburgh not able to capitalize on any of the mistakes. Another fumble. Mostert. Pitt recovers at the 9, but they can't do anything about it. 3 turnovers through 18 offensive plays for San Francisco. Should have been 4. Pittsburgh 3 and out. It's still just 6-0. Second and goal. Fumble on the snap from center. Now this is 4 turnovers for San Francisco. They get to the 7-yard line. Pitt recovers at their own 7 and then 3 and out. They just cannot score. It's 6-3 with 6:45 left in the half. San Francisco finally able to get on the board, but the ugly, ugly Pittsburgh offense just keeping them in the game. And then late, a slant to Juju. He breaks a tackle and a stiff arm for 76 yards. It's Pittsburgh 13, San Francisco 10 with 5:42 left in the third. Then San Fran goes on a big touchdown drive. So they're up 17-13. And you're thinking, okay, Pittsburgh, they're probably not going to be able to come back and score now. They have to punt. But then San Francisco punts right back. On a deep pass, there's pass interference. Pittsburgh picks up a first down, a 32-yard penalty, and then the next play, wide open touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson for 39 yards. Pittsburgh goes up 20-17 with 10 minutes left to go. San Francisco answers right back, though. The big 9-play, 61-yard drive, they move the ball with ease. There's a weird play where the wide receiver is in motion. He runs into the snap. The ball gets loose and Pittsburgh recovers the ball with 6:34 left at the Pitt 24. They pick up a first down. There's 5:33 left. All Pittsburgh has to do is just run the ball out, get another score if they can. Instead, Connor fumbles 3 plays after getting a fumble gift. 49ers recover. 5:29 left. Holding sets them back. They pick up a 3rd and 11, though, on a defensive holding, and then they score a touchdown with 1:15 left to go. Pittsburgh does nothing late. End up losing by 4 here, but covering. Saints-Seahawks game looks on paper better than it really was, 33-27, and really the Saints just beat Seattle down, and this was a garbage time game till late. I won't spend as much time on this. I mean, it was 7-7, and with 2:24 left in the first. Penalties were hurting some with the Saints early, but Seattle just could not move the ball. It was a lot of Kamara. Seattle got a big run from Carson, but he fumbled. The ball got punched out, and New Orleans returns it for a touchdown. It's a huge part of the game. It's 7-7. Seattle have the ball, and instead, Saints score a touchdown. Now it's 13-7. Starts to rain a little bit, and Seattle goes for a 4th and 1. They get stopped at the 41, so it's a short field for the Saints. 29-yard screen pass to Kamara. All of a sudden, the Saints are up 20-7 at half. They get the ball to start the second half, and they go on a 12-play, 75-yard drive that takes 7 minutes and 16 seconds. They get a 4th and 4 at the 35, where they're forced to kick a field goal, but then the illegal formation on Seattle gives them a first down. They end up getting a touchdown. Now it's 27-7, and the game's really over. It was 27-14 with 11:51 left. It looked like Seattle was going to get back into this game. There was a 3 and out, almost a Teddy interception. Seattle got the ball with 10:55 left, but they just couldn't get a score. Couldn't get an opportunity. A touchdown, they'd be down 6. They had a 4th and 1 on their own 29, and they missed it. Saints got the ball back, scored a touchdown, and they milked the clock doing it. They milked it for 5:22, and they got up 33-14, and then Seattle scores 2 garbage touchdowns late, one of them on the actual final play of the game on an untimed down. Saints 33, Seahawks 27. The Rams-Browns game, we watched this game, and the Browns really, really should have won this game. It just, the poor coaching that we expected from them, I just didn't think it was going to be this bad. The Rams didn't play that well again, but they're 3-0. Back and forth early. Defenses both playing well. Big penalties just continue to cost the Browns. Offensive pass interference. Chubb ran well most of the night. It was 3-3 with 11:41 left in the half. Kupp dropped the first down. The next play, near interception. The Rams at the punt. Browns go 3 and out. They punt it back to the Rams. The Rams are moving the ball. They pick up a couple first downs. A big sack for Cleveland makes it 3rd and 11. Forces a 48-yard field goal, which is a miss for Zierlein. Next play, Cleveland picks up 25 yards to Landry. It's 1st and 10 at the Rams 37. Cleveland's got all the momentum, but they lose yards. 3rd and 14, they're never able to make anything happen. It's a near big play to Landry, but the Browns are forced to punt. Rams drive, then they start cooking to Cooper Kupp, to Woods, to Cooks, to Kupp. But then a false start, and then a Rams fumble. The Browns recover, 1st and 10 at the Rams 17 with 18 seconds left in the half and all 3 timeouts. A throwaway, a near interception, and then a deflected pass. They have to kick a field goal. So the Browns are up at the half, but just 6-3 when it should have been a lot more. Rams got the ball to start the third. They went on a great 10-play, 75-yard drive. They were really mixing things up. Gurley, Cooks, Kupp. So Rams take the lead 10-6. On a big 3rd and 4, Chubb gets the first. A couple runs of 9 and 12. Then a screen to Chubb on 3rd and 13 for 30. There's a pass interference on the end zone. Browns end up scoring a touchdown there. But the touchdown gets negated. Illegal shift. But on a 3rd and 2, they end up scoring a touchdown to Demetrius Harris. So the Browns retake the lead 13-10, 4:37 left in the third. Goff with a bad throw. Browns interception. Again, it looks like they got all the momentum, right? 1st and 10 on the 49-yard line. 3:31 left in the third. Up 3. Chance to go up, maybe 6, maybe 10. Baker fumbles the ball. Cleveland recovers. Then he has Landry on a 3rd and 8, and he throws behind him. Baker just not look good, right? He's just not reading the defense well. He's not stepping up when he needs to. Next play for the Rams after a punt. 23 yards to Cooks. They're already in Cleveland territory. 3rd and goal. The Rams at the 6 for a wide open Kupp. They go up 17-13 with 12:48 left. Like the way Chubb ran in this game, he was on the field a lot more. We got a nice throw to Odell on the run for 19 yards, but then another illegal formation penalty. Then the play that everybody was going crazy about. It was 4th and 9 at the Rams 40, and they called a draw play. What the hell was that? Rams still couldn't put him away. 3rd and 10, they pick it up, but McVay had called a timeout, so it was a no play. Goff scrambles for 8, comes up a little short, but with a couple penalties, it becomes a first down. Rams kick a field goal. It's 20-13 with 6:29 left. The Browns then on their final drive need everything to go right, and then there's a penalty on the return, which backs them up 10 more yards. Then a sack. The Browns have to punt. Rams have the ball with 4:23 left. They just can't run the ball out. Pass gets tipped and an interception to the Browns. It's 1st and 10 at the 43 with 2:19 left. Gets to a 3rd and 15 at the Cleveland 45 with 1:47 left, and Baker to Landry for 27 yards. It is 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. We get a high pass, a tip pass, off a receiver's hands, and then an interception in the end zone. Cleveland had the ball longer and more rushing yards. Overall, their defense played really well. They were missing their entire secondary. I was kind of encouraged with this game from Cleveland. Offensively, they need to work on some things, right? They need to clean things up. They need to be a little more disciplined. No more penalties. I just didn't think they played that bad. Oh, and then the Bears-Redskins game. This game was ugly, right? Keenum, Bears 31, Redskins 15. I'm not going to dare have to force you to spend time listening to me talk about this game because it was bad to watch, but it was 7-0 after a pick six early. Washington missed a field goal. Keenum fumbled, trying to go up and over on a 4th and 1. He had an interception. Chicago had 3 straight touchdowns, and the game was really over at the half. It was 28-3. 5 turnovers for Washington, all Keenum. Trubisky had no pressure. He was able to move the ball. was 8 for 13 on third downs. The Redskins have lost 17 of their last 18 Monday Night Football games at home. 17 of their last 18 Monday Night Football home games. Got a Thursday night preview for you. Eagles at the Packers. Green Bay. This game is now -4. Green Bay. Over-under is 46.5. This game opened at 4. It went up to 5.5. Now back down to 4. Eagles are 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 September games. Alshon Jeffrey should play tonight. He missed last week. He only had 6 snaps in week 2. Expect to see more from Devontae Adams, though. He's only had 15 catches and 198 yards through 3 games. That could have been a game for him. One good game. This is a big game for the Eagles now. They don't want to go down to 1-3 with Dallas playing very, very well. Can the Green Bay offense break out? Defensively, they've been good. They're 3-0, but their offense has been struggling. Weird kind of negativity about the Green Bay offense for a team that's 3-0, and they've played 3 pretty good defensive, right? The Bears D, the Vikes D, and the Broncos D. But speaking of D's, the Packers D with Darius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, Blake Martinez. The new acquisitions and then Blake Martinez, who's been there. That's a good defense. They are second in points per game allowed, and they are first with 8 takeaways so far this year. Green Bay's 3-0. They won at the Bears. They beat the Vikings. They beat Denver. Philly's 1-2. They beat Washington, but they lost at Atlanta, and they lost to Detroit. Both of those games were close games that could have gone either way without some of the Philly drops, the mistakes, and their injuries. Can they clean things up with Jeffrey and get not as many drops in this game? Will LaFleur continue to have that balanced backfield? He wants it to be Williams and Jones and not just the Aaron Jones show. I mean, Philly's got to try to come out big in this game. That's why I'm going to stay away from this game. These Thursday night games always scare me for the most part. And I don't really have a good feel on this line either way. So at Green Bay -4, if you feel like you have to play it, I'd probably take Philly slightly, just with the plus. The plus. The thing that bothers me though is that you could have got up to 5.5 with Philly, and now it's back down to 4. So I don't get a good feel for this game. Period. If you do, I'd like to hear from you. Speaking of hear from you, I asked everyone out there, what's on your mind this week? I got some responses. I wanted to read through some of them. I always like to get all the listeners involved because, hey, I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for all of you folks, and you are all my co-hosts. So what's on your mind this week? Ryan K. says, I love the Texans to cover easy against the Kyle Allen-led Panthers. Something tells me Romeo Crennel will come up with a defensive game plan to confuse the youngster. Lots of J.J. Watt in the backfield. Good to hear from you, Ryan. Nick, Mr. Guru Nick, says things on his mind this week. Mandatory payouts on Sunday. Santa Anita Keeneland around the corner. Arlington and CDI. The start of the Cubs teardown. Yeah, struggle for the Cubs. Yanks Astros for the best record. Tampa for the last wild card. Jones and Barkley, the 3-0 teams. If not New England, then whom? Can Dallas lose the East? I mean, this is a big game for Philly this week, right? I like what Nick does all over the place. Horse racing, Santa Anita Keeneland around the corner. Arlington and CDI. Looks like Arlington's going to get some dates for next year. The Cubs tear down. Is Madden out? Who stays, who goes? Yanks Astros for best record overall. Who's going to get the home field advantage? And I'd love to see one of them hopefully play the Dodgers. Tampa trying to squeeze in that last wild card with Oakland and Cleveland battling it out. How long will Barkley be out? We got Danny Dimes and Jones, the 3-0 teams. Big game this week between the Bills and the Pats. Great to hear from Mr. Guru Nick. Lots of good topics. Shane Covey says Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch open as the favorites to win the third NASCAR Cup playoff race this weekend at Charlotte Royal. Although win and top 3 finish bets have been wagering options for years. Again, I'm just reading off this. As you could tell, I don't know NASCAR or racing very well at all. Horse racing, yes. But what Shane asks, which I like, and he says, why not make the sport more like horse racing and offer exotic wagers? And Shane, hey, in this day and age, especially with gambling becoming legal in all sorts of different places, I think all the options need to be more and more, right? Johnny, the Saratoga junkie, posted the big parlay that was floating around all week. There was a 20-team parlay that was purchased for 89 cents that needed the Washington Redskins to win straight up against the Bears, and we all saw how that ended up. Unfortunately, would have hit for $500,000. And so people are talking about hedging and stuff at that point. Like, what do? You think somebody who bet an 89-cent parlay is going to be able to somehow go get $100,000 somewhere to hedge that bet? Or however much? I just don't know how you hedge that. Eric Pignataro said, Week 3, most profitable week so far. On a side note, I'll be making my first trip to Santa Anita ever, October 10th through 11th. Cool, Eric. Coming on out. And he said, trying to stay humble and not be so overconfident this week. Moving from Tampa to Sacramento for work. Living in Natomas for a little north of Sacramento. Leaving October 3rd, driving all the way. Great to hear from Eric. A couple more for you. Doug Dwyer says, let's talk about the Bagel Guy versus Screech. The Dustin Diamond fight on Saturday. Right? Screech steps in for Dykstra. And I was watching, as prep for this, Doug, I was watching the old Dustin Diamond fights, man. He is bigger than you think. He's 6 foot. He's got some reach. He's a foot bigger than the Bagel Guy. I mean, he could probably really lay him out. Expect Screech to whoop some ass in this one. John K. Isn't a big fan of what he's seen so far in the NFL. Says, Gino, only 3 teams in the AFC, maybe 4 teams in the NFC as a week 4. League is a joke, and the scary thing is the upcoming quarterback with the most exceptions are not coming through at all. So, John, I kind of disagree. I think the NFL is in really good shape right now. When you look at the AFC, sure, it's the Patriots, but you have the Chiefs there with Mahomes, who are the most fun team in the league, maybe. You have the Texans with Watson, who are a lot of fun. And then you have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Josh Allen and the Bills are making noise. They got a big game against the Patriots this weekend. But if you're talking about the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, there are some fun teams in the AFC. And then you look in the NFC, Dallas is playing really, really well. You have a Packers team that's got a little bit of a new identity. The Rams, 49ers are good right now. NFC's a little more wide open. Who knows with Danny Dimes for the Giants. Detroit's having a good year. Minnesota, the Bears have good defenses. Can Teddy hold on with the Saints? I mean, there's lots going on. I think there's lots of fun storylines, and it's been a fun year so far. Thomas Ritchie talking about the undefeated Detroit Lions. And Ed Gerlitsky loved the Giants game over the week. We talked about both of those games a little earlier. The Lions 2-0-1, and the Giants now picking up that big win over Tampa. Chris said the Bears-Skins game not hitting the over burned him. That's Chris Barr. Well, let's make it back this weekend, Chris Barr. And then Chris Long lost a few bucks on the Cardinals. He says the Cardinals suck. Chris, same thing. Let's make it back this weekend, Chris Long. My good friend, hope you are doing well. Let's close things out with some Santa Anita Friday. Opening day at Santa Anita. We're going to go quickly through the non-stakes races, and then the stakes races we'll spend a little more time on. The first race, your past performance is out, so we're talking Santa Anita, September 27th. I thought the 3 Gate Speed was the horse. If you're going to play an early pick 5, to me this is the horse to single, cutting back from a mile to 6.5 furlongs. I probably won't play a whole lot in the early races because I just didn't love them. But if you are going to play, the June 23rd race, the morning snow race, was a really tough race that Gate Speed exits. And then Gate Speed was really good on July the 31st also. So to me, this is the one to beat, and I'm not going to give you anything, outside the box there. In race 2, again, just depending on how you're playing the early races, I thought both the 3 and the 8 were horses to keep an eye on. The 3 convincingly just looks like a horse who's going to improve second time out. She just started to get going a little bit late. I don't think she ran that poorly, and I'm expecting her to improve second time out. And then the 8, Undisturbed, 2-year-old filly who was pretty good debuting. 5 furlongs in a race. It's come back live so far. So if you're playing, throw those 2 horses in some of your exotics, or keep an eye on the price, and whichever's a better price, or if you're getting some kind of value, maybe on the 3 convincingly and the 8 Undisturbed. Include them in some of your exotics. Not a real strong opinion or anything in the 3rd. The 4th race, I like the 1 in here. I'll recommend a win wager on Salsa Bella. She's pretty lightly raced, overall. She's just raced 9 times for a 4-year-old. And she's been entered in graded stakes a couple times when she came into the country. And since then, she's been more of like an upper allowance type horse. And if you look, she's run pretty well. She hasn't really been completely overmatched. I think she's been in a couple tough spots, and this doesn't look like one of them. I think she's really well spotted in here in race number 4. And she's coming off a poor performance that might make her price float up a little bit, and she might just be a little undervalued because of that. She came to Southern California on July the 27th, and she proved she fit with a pretty good 3rd. She was not far behind Nettie Surprise in that race, closing 3rd. Now she gets to save all the ground from the inside. And what happened on August the 17th, she's sitting 2 deep, she's 4th, she's 3 off, she moves up 4 wide, and she gets stuck 3 deep, really for no reason. It was a bad ride, and now Bejarano jumps aboard. I'm not surprised to see a jock switch. I'm just expecting a different trip today. She's going to save all the ground and come rolling in here. I look at this field, and I think there's enough speed to set up the rally with just Sunrise Royal and the speed that she'll likely be flashing in here. Galavie to the outside. Shouldn't be too far out of it. So let's go Salsa Bella. Saving ground from the inside, comes rolling late. If we can get 7-2 on Salsa Bella, let's make a win wager on the 1. 5th race is the grade 1, Chandelier. Been studying her as the 1. In her debut at Sacramento, she beat a next out stakes winner. She sat close from the inside. She angled around and she won the battle with the favorite that day. She was actually the 2nd choice. And last out, she broke well. She was right on top. She was taken back. She was a couple lengths off. 4th, 5th. She was 3 deep. She was in the clear. She loomed up nicely on the outside without really being asked. It was impressive. That was against Calabreds. And now she has to deal with tougher and go long. But there's only one horse in this field that's gone longer than 7 furlongs. It's not like there's a bunch of experienced route horses in here. Calbred, though, facing the open. I like the 2 KP Dreaming. In the debut, she was behind Impressa, Speressa, and Bast. But that was just the debut. She was taken back from the inside. She angled the outside. She was in between horses. She was in kind of a tight spot, and she took back, and then she just couldn't re-rally. It wasn't bad. And last time, she settled towards the rear. She was in between horses, but she was just a couple lengths off. She had to wait for room patiently. She moved to the inside. She got to a good spot on the rail. She moved up nicely, and it was a good victory. And she did it going a mile. She's the only one in the field who has raced past 7 furlongs. She's the only one who's gone 2 turns. KP Dreaming. Will she have to take another step forward? Sure. Comical was really good in her first couple. We'll see this with a couple of these Doug O'Neills. One later on in the 2-year-old colt version of the grade 1. And I just don't know if she's continued to progress after that Schuylerville. I can give an excuse for the August 3rd race from the rail when she had to flash speed. Then she took back and came off the pace and was able to pick up 3rd last time out, but she was well defeated by Bast, and I don't know why she will be able to turn the tables on Bast, who, wow, the blinkers just really helped Bast last out. In her debut, she hopped at the start, and then she took a few strides to get going. She was pushed 4 wide all the way around, and she got to within maybe 2 lengths, but Inspiressa was just kind of cruising that day. But Bast was a clear-cut second. And last time out, she turns the table on Inspiressa. Bast sits a close-up second, takes back to fourth behind 3, battling it out. She got a perfect trip. And when she was asked for some runs, she moved right by them all. She crushed the field. Blinks were big for Bast. Buyer's Remorse, who was a step slow and then got the lead in between horses, was pressed in the 2-path. I mean, she really put away the early speed and battled all the way, and she looked like she was going to beat Stellar Sound a couple different times. She looked like she got the better of her, but Stellar Sound just was able to wear her down late. Stellar Sound was 5th in the Del Mar debutante. Then you have Lacothea, who did have trouble at Ellis in the debut, then came back on the 15th of August at Del Mar and absolutely crushed the field with the blinkers, flew and opened up early. The race was just over quickly. She wasn't even favored, and she was the second choice behind Biddy Duke, who was a next out winner. Actually, he's won 2 races in a row, maiden 32, and then a starter allowance. Then on August the 31st, at 4-1 against Grade 1 Company, Bast included. She broke well, Leucothea. She was right on top, but she wasn't. I didn't like the ride here either. She wasn't really asked to go on, and she kind of dropped back a little bit. And then she came through again, and she ends up battling instead of maybe having a length on the field. And she was all in and dropped out of it early. Let's go KP Dreaming. If we can catch KP Dreaming at anything over 4-1, Bast is very logical. Won't try to talk you off Bast, but if you're talking about a win wager, I think KP Dreaming is a very interesting contender. And then Buyer's Remorse. I think just for a horse who has some speed, we'll try to fight and maybe can hang around at a price. Let's go 2-4-5 in race number 5 at Santa Anita. Stop what you're doing right now. Head on over to CindyCarava.com, full service realtor. Very happy to introduce one of the sponsors of That's What G Said podcast. If you know the name, it sounds a little familiar. She's the wife of trainer Jack Carava, who's been a mainstay on the Southern California racing circuit for the last 30 years. And Cindy can help you with anything you need in the world of real estate. Buying, leasing, selling. If you want to upgrade your home, she can introduce you to vendors. She can help you out with lenders. Anything at all you need, CindyCarava.com, or send her an email, cindyc.realtor@gmail.com. Race number 6 is the Eddie D, 5 furlongs. It's a tough little race for turf sprinters in here. Eddie Haskell from the rail, it's really tough to knock what he's done. He's a grade 3 winner, but this has got to be the toughest group he's ever faced. He's going to have to deal with Mr. Vargas and Pee Wee Rees, along with Stormy Liberal and Tribalist, who he's defeated as of late. I just don't like the rail draw for Eddie Haskell in here. He was just outrun a little bit last time out behind Mr. Vargas, so I'm going to lean against Eddie Haskell in here, mainly based on just the draw. In a field that's going to be tightly, evenly matched, it's going to be little things like post position that could really be the difference between, winning and finishing second. Pee Wee Rees is a grade 3 winner, but this is not an easy spot for him to make his return going 5 furlongs. He has shown success going 5 furlongs before, but he hasn't raced since March. And prior to that, he hadn't raced since August, when he was behind Stormy Liberal. He's capable on his best, but this is just not an easy spot for him. Does he like Santa Anita? Yes, but he likes the downhill course, and he likes going a mile a little bit better than we know he likes going 5 furlongs. I'm just watching Pee Wee in here today. You have another graded stakes winner in Lombo. But Lombo doesn't have a lot of turf success. Although his dam did win on the turf 3 times, was a stakes winner, was graded stakes place, won sprinting and going long on the grass. I think he hopes to sit just off. But you're looking at the 2-time Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner. You're looking at graded stakes winners from the inside in Eddie Haskell and Pee Wee Rees. You're looking at Mr. Vargas, who's a recent graded stakes winner. And you're looking at a horse like Boa Nova, who can absolutely fly. And then Tribalist, who really does very little wrong turf sprinting. Just a not easy spot for Lombo. Boa Nova can fly. He just quickly had 2 lengths on the field in both of his last 2 starts. He was just not stopping late either. He's very, very fast, but he's going to run into other speed in here. Eddie Haskell's going to have to go from the inside. Pee Wee Reese is quick. Lombo's going to be right there. Mr. Vargas is quick. Tribalist is quick. That's what leads me to Stormy Liberal, who I think is going to be really ready for a big performance here. He's a 2-time Breeders' Cup winner, but he hasn't won on the year. But he's been in some tough company. You see, he's been behind Eddie Haskell, not that far. He's been behind Mr. Vargas and Eddie Haskell in his first start returning from Dubai. He didn't like Kentucky Downs last time out. He's been just a step or 2 off his best, but he should have every opportunity in here to get a great, great trip with all that speed and maybe get the jump on a deep closer like Double Touch. I'm just going to use 5 and 6, Stormy Liberal and Mr. Vargas in the exotics because I really like how Mr. Vargas has shown that he can press just off. On July the 21st, he had to press 3 wide and just off, and that might be the exact trip he gets today. He has only run 1 bad race in his life, and that was at 6.5 furlongs, and maybe that's just a little too far for him. Mr. Vargas. To me, he's the one to beat in here. I'm going to have 5, 6. Double Touch. His wins have been at 7 furlongs, a mile, 6.5 furlongs, and a mile. This just feels like too short for him. It's Sadler off the claim, though. He's 2 for his last 10, first off the claim. And he's better than those numbers look because he's 16% over his last 5 years over an 89-horse sample with a $1.62 ROI. Tribalist. Same thing with Eddie Haskell. This is going to be the toughest field Tribalist has ever faced because he's having to deal with Eddie Haskell, Stormy Liberal, and Pee Wee Reese all together, and a horse like Mr. Vargas. So Tribalist, who has shown the ability to just show up off the layoff and pop a big, big effort. I don't know if he can do that against this group. 5, 6 in here. This looks like the 2 horses that are going to get the trip. Stormy Liberal and Mr. Vargas, who might be in front, pressing, and Stormy Liberal should be sitting right behind them with every opportunity. Put a line through that Kentucky Downs race. Just never seem to really get over that turf course. And that's a weird course. It's a deep course. A lot of horses don't really take to it. 7th race at Santa Anita. Take a look at the 9 in here. Gumtree Lane. If you can get like 4-1, play him to win and throw him in any of your late exotics. They took a shot on the grass last time out, and that was the first start since December. I liked what I saw from him last year in his first 2 starts. It's his first time putting 2 together. I think he takes a big step forward, and he should have some speed to chase in here. The 9, Gumtree Lane. Use in your exotics. Let's close things out with the Grade 1 American Pharaoh. American Theorem, the 1, man, he was really good for Papa Padromo first time out. It was a step slow. He was in between horses. He was just 2-3 off, but he was 6th, 7th. He was loaded. He got a seam. He angled around. He opened up. He held off a challenge. Now he takes the blinkers off, and he has to stretch out from 5.5 to a mile and a 16th. He has to do it from the rail and face others. But he's only 5-1 in here. I just feels like a lot. The 2-4 left kind of looks like the other O'Neill horse, Comical. Good early on, hasn't quite taken the next step, but I mean, he was only 3rd in the Best Pal. Now the blinkers come off. He should be flashing speed at least. And just like Comical, I mean, he could hit the board in here with the speed. He was battling in between for the lead. He pressed from the 2 path. He was up to lead for a moment, but then he tired. A pace factor at least in here. And then you have 8 Rings. Monster debut win. Broke on top. Ended up 3 wide. But he just crushed a field. And then he was heavily favored in the Del Mar Futurity, and he broke inward. He just looked bad right from the start. He broke inward, and then a few strides later, he ducked in, and he knocked into a rival, stormed the court, and jocks went down, and they were both taken completely out of the race. Now the blinkers go on. He's come back and worked fine. A couple works at Santa Anita. He's the one to beat in here. Express Train. What I like about this race is that 8 Rings is the one to beat, but you have many horses in here you can take a swing with, right? I'm not going to talk you off American Theorem just because I don't like him as much. I'm not going to talk you off Express Train. I mean, Storm the Court, you can build a case for. I like Defense Wins as the price play in this race. I'm actually going to make Defense Wins my top selection. Shoplifted, ships over here. Hey, he's not bad at all. He was one of the 3 Steve Asmussen horses. He was the second choice in that race. He was actually a shorter price than the winner of that race, Basin. I don't like Collusion Illusion as much, but I'm not talking you off him if you want to play him. There's a lot of different ways to go if you're not just sold on 8 Rings. And 8 Rings defeated Express Train on August the 4th. Express Train was 3 off. He moved inside. He moved and angled around, but 8 Rings had already got the jump on him. And Express Train was really good that day. He was second, and he was 9 lengths clear of the third place finisher. And then Express Train comes right back, stretches out to a mile. Good start from the rail. Clears the field early. Sits second. He's in between. He's outside his rival. He takes the lead on the inside. Pressure. Moves back to the lead. Just puts him away. Very impressive win from Express Train last time out. I will not talk you off him if you like him. I thought for me, there are 4 horses that I'm going to use in the exotics, 6, 3, 7, 4. If you thought Express Train was a logical win contender, I do too. It's a lot based on price in here. Storm the Court. His debut was good. He battled from the inside. He put away the other speed. He had to hold off the 1-5 favorite Garth, and he did. And it was a clear win that day. And then second out, he was involved in that incident with 8 Rings. When he drew the rail, 8 Rings bumped into him, and both of them lost jocks, and they were both just out of the futurity. Treat him like a wild card in here. I thought Defense Wins of the prices in here is the one to use, and I'll make him my top selection. He's actually still a maiden, but in his debut, he was sitting 3 off from the outside. He moved inside. Then he angled around 3 deep in between horses, and he didn't get moving until late. And he was up for second. And it seemed like when Collusion Illusion came up alongside, that's when he started to kick into gear. And he was right behind Collusion Illusion. Then last time out, after the incident, he was last of the remaining 6 horses that were in the field. And he was close up. He was just 3 off. He was on the inside. He moved through, but he just didn't like being on the inside. Then he angled outside, and once he did, he started to travel well, and he just missed getting up for second. Didn't have a lot of room earlier in the race when he was in tight. Let's put him on top here at a price. Defense Wins, the number 6. What's wrong with Shoplifted? Big debut winner at Saratoga. And last time out, he's in a grade 1, and he's in the slop. And he loses to Basin in front of Godzilla. Slow start from the rail. He's last of 6 on the inside. He's 7-8 off. He keeps to the inside. He angles out. He gets up for second. Just up for second on the outside. He was a shorter price than the winner. And he drew the rail in the slop. You can come out here and improve and win this race. Absolutely. Nucky is a grade 1 winner, but I think he was the beneficiary of that incident. No 8 Rings. No Storm the Court. Nucky pressed 3 deep, then he was 4 deep. He was never more than a length off. He moved to the lead slightly, and he wore down rivals, and he just kind of fell into it. I like Defense Wins the most out of that Del Mar Futurity race. I just didn't think a whole lot of the race that Wrecking Crew and Nucky ran. And then you have Collusion Illusion, who's 2 for 2 and a grade 2 winner. And in his debut, he beat Defense Wins, who I like. So how do I not like Collusion Illusion? Well, I think going longer, I expect Defense Wins to be a little bit better. I think Collusion Illusion was the beneficiary of a couple good trips. On August the 10th, last out, he was taken back. He angled to the outside. He loomed up 4 wide and in between, and he just kind of wore everyone down, and he ended up holding off Wrecking Crew. It's tough to really knock him, but it's just one of those instances where you like others more. So let's go. Defense wins, 8 rings, express train, and shoplifted in the exotics here. However, you're playing the 8th from Santa Anita. Coming up on the next few episodes of That's What G Said, we're going to talk some Belmont Saturday, some Santa Anita Saturday. We're going to have Andrew Champagne on. We're going to talk some Belmont. We're going to also give out the NFL picks for the weekend for Sunday, up to 14-6 against the spread in the NFL. And we'll have a recap of Ballers. And we're also going to start recapping a couple more of the new fall TV shows. We're going to figure out exactly which ones and what the schedule will be in the next few days. Subscribe, rate and review, share around with your friends. We're going to have some big contests coming up soon. We're going to start predicting some games and just some follow-along contests that will literally just give you money for following. So stay tuned, folks. Thanks again for tuning in to That's What G Said.